As many as 30% of evangelical Christians are Democrats. If you ask them why, they often respond that they are following Jesus. And yet the Democrat Party seeks to advance a variety of policies that are direct contradictions to the teachings of the Bible, including endorsing child murder in the womb, sexual promiscuity, homosexuality, envy, and a wide variety of more subtle prohibitions. So how can Christian Democrats believe they are following Jesus? The Matthew 25 Network, a left-wing political action committee, gives us a clue. The group takes its name from the 25th chapter of Matthew, in which Jesus summarizes the criteria he will use when judging our behavior. The Matthew 25 Network and most Christian Democrats will cite Jesus' words from Matthew to explain the way they vote. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." These are profound words, and those who live by them are clearly obeying the direct instructions of Jesus. But the trouble is, that isn't what Democrats do. In order for Democrats to be doing what Jesus instructed, he would have to have said something like this: "I was hungry and thirsty, a stranger and needing clothes, sick and in prison, and you voted for a law to take your neighbor's property by force, then wasted much of it in a faceless, inefficient government bureaucracy. Then you maligned those who were doing what I actually instructed so that you could feel morally superior by comparison." So why didn't Jesus say this? Was it because he wasn't wise enough to see that Democrats would one day come up with a better way? Or could it be he didn't say this because he knew it wouldn't work nearly as well as what he did say? The word "you" occurs 6 times in verses 35 and 36. Jesus isn't instructing us to force our neighbors to take care of the poor and sick and imprisoned. He's telling us to do it, personally, ourselves, because forced virtue is no virtue at all. This is just as true for those doing the forcing as it is for those being forced. Actual selflessness requires a choice that costs us something. This is a subtle distinction that is often overlooked, but it means all the difference between success and failure, between actually following Jesus and merely pretending. And this is why conservatives and Republicans are, in reality, consistently more generous with their money and time than are liberals or Democrats. This makes perfect sense when you consider that a huge percentage of conservatives are evangelical Christians with a biblical mandate to care for the poor. Most liberals, on the other hand, appear to believe that caring for the poor is the government's job. Look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. The numbers I found indicate that conservatives, taken as a group, are twice as likely to give money to charity than are liberals, with conservative evangelical Christians outgiving liberals 4 to 1. And what do conservatives get for their greater generosity? They get called selfish by the very people they are outgiving. If that's selfish, then I hope we all develop a lot more of that kind of selfishness. Now you might be saying to yourself, I don't vote for Democrats to be virtuous. I do it because using my neighbor's money in a collective effort is the best way to help large groups of people. But it usually isn't. To see this, we'll look at the real-world results of the conservative and liberal approaches to caring for the poor in the next video.